It's past that time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How we all doing?
Great.
It is February 20th version of our weekly business meeting. So we can't get started until I do my morning jog though. Are you off the phone? Oh, no, he emailed me. I had already put those slides in.
No, that's the notice that I got 10 minutes ago.
All right, on-time drawing. What do we got here? 2 gold folders. Hey, Anthony. Ooh. We got a shirt. We got all sorts of stuff. And whoever wins gets to put it all back in the bag. All right, so what number are we choosing? Too late.
I know. I tried.
3.
All right, so we have 12. We have a couple of empty slots there. Number 3.
Oh my God, that's me.
Yeah, there you go.
It is.
Go pack it up.
I
It's
told you.
all
3.
yours.
I told
Come
you
get
3.
it.
Yeah.
Go pack it all up.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you. I knew that. I knew.
All right. Make sure you take pictures throughout and post it on Facebook, tagging me, tagging those around you, and checking in at, you have to check everything out first. Just throw it all in the bag.
Yeah, okay.
Are you picking and choosing what you
It's
want?
not. It's not good. Yeah. Okay.
All right, epic. Is John gonna be here or?
Just
All right, awesome. Come on up. This is Brian.
hey, Brian. Nice to meet everyone. So I wanted to present some information that will be helpful for open house stuff, similar to what Mark's going to be going over this afternoon. Or sorry, this morning. Sorry, Mark. I've been up for a long time this morning getting a loan file clear to close on a file that's been on fire. So I feel like I've lived a whole nother life this morning. Alright, so the Listen Log program is something that you can use on your listings. It's basically a way to advertise interest rates like a builder. So if you see Lennar, D.R. Horton, or any of those national builders that are advertising rates in the 4s, 5s, 6s, anything below market rate, this is basically how we can do this and be compliant at Realty One. And so this program used to be $9.99, and now we have an option that makes it free, and then you receive all of the same collateral. So I just wanted to walk you through kind of what the process looks like so that you can see what assets that you get. And also it comes with open house material, marketing material, and social media videos. And then I just recently put this on a listing of my own in Utah, and they also run social media ads through CMG. And over the weekend we had Parade of Homes, and we had like 50,000 people in southern Utah that were out looking at homes. And we had 13,000 views on our social media promotional material over the weekend for all of these. For anyone that has real estate in their algorithm, then this will start to show up in their feed once the list and lock is put together. So I normally, so you can do a seller concession of 1, 2, or 3. The seller's not obligated to this seller concession unless the potential buyer executes a list and lock. So the conversation that I have with the sellers is this is a way to get more eyes on your listing. And if we get a buyer that needs the list and lock, and that's how we help secure the buyer, and that's what gets the deal pushed through, then that's the reason for the list and lock. However, if we don't get a buyer through the list and lock program, then you're not obligated to this whatever concession that they decide to go with. So I always suggest doing 2%, and and then we'll just do a $500,000 sales price. And then this will basically show you your options for the list unlock, and then it'll show you what the rate and all the sample of the assets that you would have for your seller would be. So it looks like with a 2% buy down, you'd get down to 5.875. And you can see here that you'll get a sign writer that you can put on your listing. So if you're in a neighborhood near like a DR Horton, then this would be advantageous because they have this promotional material all over their listings. So you basically would be able to compete with what they have going on. You get an open house flyer with a QR code as well that you can use at your open houses that populate for this adjusts to whatever mortgage rates are that day.
Where's the QR code go to?
It goes to a pre-populated website, so we set the website up, and then that way it can capture leads for the listing agent. And so anyone that clicks on that QR code and provides their information, they get to see the rates for that day. So if rates change and they go down, and say next week we could get 5.5, then whoever scans that QR code.
You heard Brian, he's saying rates are going down next week.
I hope. So if rates go down or if rates go up, then that QR code will have up-to-date information. And then you can use that rate sheet at your open house if you'd like to print it off. You could just set the QR code up in a 8x10 picture if you'd like. It does come with a custom property video and a social media video. This is the one that CMG blasts all over Instagram with the paid ads. And then you also have other marketing collateral as well. And so this is the program that we would be doing. We have a coupon at Epic for Realty One to make it free so that there's no cost to you as the listing agent, there's no cost to your seller unless they potentially execute the list unlock.
So it used to be $9.99.
Yep.
And now it's free?
So this is the original program that released. There was no other options. It was the $9.99. So in a an inclining rate market, this is the list unlock that you would need to use, because if rates were going from 7 now to 8 later, then this would give you a 60-day lock. But since rates aren't volatile in that direction, there's no reason that we needed to use that program. So we came up with the lock later program, and then also provided a coupon for Realty One Group to make it free.
Awesome.
How do you get to this?
So this is on our website. This is my site. So we do all of this for you and get you all of this set up.
So they just need to contact you?
Yeah,
direct.
we
Okay.
just need the address, the sales price, and then it actually comes with a presentation that you can have with your seller as well. So basically I can put all of that information, generate the coupon, download the listing presentation, and send this all over to you in less than 15 minutes. Do you want me to play the video? I don't know how much time that we
Sure.
have allocated to.
Do we have access to this,
How
or
long's
who
the
have
video?
access to that?
90 seconds. It's basically going to talk you through what the difference is between the rate buy down versus the cost savings if you get them. So there's a QR code. So those are the two biggest differences, is what you qualify for and also the monthly payment savings of $327.
Nice.
But the seller have to have a contribution.
If the list unlock is executed, this is basically just to get more eyeballs on your listing. So this number is eye-catching in our marketplace. And so whether or not they actually have to execute the list unlock is debatable, but our job as realtors is to get more eyeballs on the listing. And the way that you do that, especially when you're competing against national builders, is you have to have something, a competitive product to theirs. And if they're advertising 5 1/4 in the neighborhood and you're still at 7 1/8, then you're not gonna be competitive, and more often than not, those buyers are gonna end up in a new DR Horton home versus buying your client's home. So this is just a tool to help. It's not gonna be perfect for every situation, but I knew that it came with open house material, and it's beneficial to kind of help on that fast. And obviously there's more to learn about it, so if you wanna know more about the program, you can kind of dive into that in a separate one-on-one as well.
Any questions for Brian? All right. Also, you wanna explain these next 3 slides real quick?
Yep, absolutely. So Ricky, the president of Epic Lending, is gonna be coming up from Arizona. He's gonna be teaching a CE class over at Green Valley on the 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. Right now, there's a cost of $10. Ricky is gonna be waiving that fee today for anyone that signs up. So anyone that
Signed up yesterday.
just text me your info. It's $10. It's negligible, but we just want to eliminate the resistance to sign up and offer the class for free for everyone in the room today. So if you'd like to join,
Anthony?
You guys should have gotten an invite link yesterday from me via email, so.
well, that's probably why you signed up for it yesterday then.
Yeah, so if you guys have any issues finding it, just go ahead and search. It'll be just FHA and VA program guidelines.
And Ricky's a really good instructor.
Yeah, yep. And then kind of to piggyback on this, we're gonna be scheduling classes at all 4 Realty One Group offices. We've got the full class schedule. We've got a flyer out in front of the office here. So if you'd like to participate in any of the trainings, this full schedule is out. Listen lock is what we just went over, and we're all good.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Reach out to Brian for all your mortgage questions. All right, so I might be putting I have a scratch on my eyeball, so I can't wear contacts, so to see far, see your faces, I need glasses. But to see close, I don't. Anyways, this is our Rev Up calendar. Module 4, the residential purchase agreement tomorrow. Next Wednesday, working with buyers, getting offers accepted. Next Friday, holding successful open houses, which is basically what I'm going to be talking about today. And then next Wednesday is residential listing agreement. Tacos without the tequila though. So in the food truck out there in the parking lot today from 11 to 1:30, it's slanging tacos. I don't know why they call it that. But anyway, there's the menu, looks pretty good. All right. There's Anthony.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Who's in? Good.
So there's going to be a Google Business Profile workshop that we're going to be hosting here after the sales meeting. So to basically go through walking you through on how to create those Google profiles. You know, inserting some links, driving leads into your websites so you can acquire their information and start tailoring campaigns that are speaking for their needs, whatever they're looking for. Additionally, I will pass this out after I'm done because I know we are on the topic of successful open houses. Rock Title does provide open house kits. There's going to be a breakdown on this list. There's other kits that we do provide for you guys depending on the circumstance, whether you guys have a listing presentation or buyer consultation. Along with the open house, we'll be able to provide you a kit for all of these. So you'll get an itemized breakdown of what is included in these kits here on the sheet, and I'll go ahead and pass that out. So feel free to reach out for any upcoming open house. We'll be able to get it down here, the kits sent down here within a 24-hour time frame. So definitely reach out for your upcoming open houses.
So if I'm having an open house Saturday, I shouldn't reach out to you Friday at 3 p.m.?
No. Obviously, we can accommodate for that, but you would have to pick it up just because the runner service, the last one of the day, goes out at 2 o'clock. So definitely get those requests in if you have an open house on Saturday. Try to get them in by Thursday.
Give them a couple, 3 days.
Yeah, most definitely. But it comes with flyers, sign-in sheet, basically anything home buyer wise that's going to help them, educate them, along with their home buyer guides. So I'll go ahead and pass this out. If you guys have any upcoming open houses, feel free to let me know after this class, and I'll hopefully see you guys at this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. All right. Next Thursday, I want you all here. I wanna pack the house next Thursday for Rena Peterson, who is she used to be president of, I forget what real estate company, didn't say there. Better Homes and Gardens. She was president of Better Homes and Gardens in Utah. She has a very large, successful team in Utah, and she has agreed to come down next week. And I was just on the phone with her just this morning, talking about what she's going to talk about. She's asking me questions about you guys, and so she's putting together a really good presentation. And so I want you all here to support my sister. All right, next up, we have all sorts of training going on. So we have training calendars, and they're throughout the office. Let's talk stats. All right, so active listings as of the 19th, just a couple of days, or yesterday, I guess. We're at 7522 active listings. Last week, that number was 7421, so we've gone up a little bit. Under contracts and solds, we're at 3,051 and 1956 last week. We're 29 and 18, so we've come up there as well. This is an important number. The month's inventory is 3.8. It's still, we're still in slightly a seller's market, but we've moved more toward the buyer's market right now. We're seeing a lot less multiple offers. Any of you dealing with multiple offers right now? Anyone? You are?
As a buyer.
As a buyer's agent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Often?
The area that they're interested in, yes.
What price point?
450.
Okay, still, okay. So we're not in a buyer's market, but we're not completely in a seller's market. It's always a good indication of what's going on in the marketplace. Medium days on market is 41, 40, so that hasn't really changed much, but know your stats, know what's going on in our marketplace. And this is just a small, just a small bit of what's going on in the market. You can really dive deep into the stats if you really want. Do you have a question? Oh, you just... All right. All right. Let's talk about open houses. All right? That's why you guys are here. So, a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, I'm sitting in my office, and there was an agent up at the front desk talking to Stephanie, and Stephanie was telling her what was going on, and she says, in 2 weeks we're gonna have an open house class. And that agent said, well, who's teaching it? And of course Stephanie says, Mark is. And that agent said, when's the last time Mark did an open house? So I had to start thinking, when is the last time I did an open house?
What was the answer to that?
The answer is, it was probably 2015.
That was
So we're talking 10 years.
It wasn't called open house, it was called open cave. And that was in Utah too.
God, I wish I had said that.
So, my point is, there's a point here somewhere. Open houses really hasn't changed a whole lot. But maybe there are some things that have changed. So those of you that are doing open houses, feel free to let's make this, so everybody learns. It's been a long time before I had, shown houses and wrote offers too, until yesterday. I showed houses, when was that? A couple of days ago. And yeah, it was taken. So Tuesday showed 6 houses, yesterday wrote an offer on one of them. So I still got it, right?
Well, your offer didn't get accepted yet.
Not yet. All right, so let's talk about open houses. We'll talk about success with open houses. is first of all, consider all the benefits of doing open houses. It's a great way to generate it. Hey, Terry, when did you sneak in?
Just
In
now.
9:30.
But you didn't sign in for the on-time drawing.
Oh, see what happened was different universe, mountain time.
All right, so open houses, great way to, you're gonna see when my sister comes out next week, you're gonna see we have a way different speaking and teaching style. I make fun of people all the time, don't I?
I know you do.
So, great way to generate leads. Who has gotten leads off of open houses? Terry? Yeah. Few of you. It's a great way for exposure. Not that kind of exposure, Terry. It's a great you're exposing yourself, again, not that way, and you're exposing the home. So I've gone out on listing appointments, and the seller says, "Oh, I see your signs everywhere." And really, it was probably the open house signs that they're seeing, because I did a lot of open houses and put out a lot of signs. If done properly, they're a great way to use your time. Here's the thing with open houses. They're not all home runs, are they? Sometimes we'll do an open house and we'll get no one through, or one or two people through. So you have to have something to do. You bring work to do. That is your office for that 2, 3, 4, however many hours you're doing it. That is your office. So bring work to do. If you don't bring work to do, and you have a slow open house, you're just going to be bored. You know, worst case scenario is you bring work to do, and you have a busy open house, and you're not able to get that work done. So bring work to do. It's your office for that period of time. Rick says it, worst case scenario, you get lots of work or practice done. What's that?
Bring a pill and take a nap.
Here's the best advice I can give you today.
Don't listen to
Never listen to the advice that Richard gives you. All right, attitude.
Mark, one thing to add on that,
Yeah.
when I go to the open house,
Yeah.
I do a lot of social media marketing,
Mm.
and so the house is already gonna be cleaned by the seller, it's gonna be in show-ready condition, and if it's not, then I get there and I have to get it in show-ready condition,
Mhm.
and then I see that as an opportunity to create more just 15 to 30-second social media reels about the property, and if that house is slow, that's how I fill my time. And so I see it as I'm already fulfilling my obligation to the seller to create more exposure with the open house.
Love it.
But then I also create more exposure for the house by creating an open house ad on social media and here. You can go Instagram or Facebook Live.
Mhm.
Those are two things that you can do a walkthrough. So I do those things at the open house to create social media exposure for the house, rather than having to set a specific time for the seller to get the house ready for me to do all those things separately.
Nice, love it. Anybody else do anything different?
I bake.
You bake. We're gonna talk about that.
Brownies or cookies
Yeah.
is good too.
Yeah.
Brownies.
Cookies.
I don't wanna know what kind of brownies you're making.
I mean, it makes you feel high and lifted.
All right, attitude is everything. How many of you have heard from other agents that open houses don't work?
All the
All the time.
Yeah, open houses suck. You know, that's what agents are saying. Because what happens is an agent will do an open house and maybe have a shitty, did I say that? Maybe have a bad open house. Is that being recorded? Maybe have a bad open house, and that agent for the rest of their career says open houses don't work. Well, there's a lot of agents that have gotten a lot of business doing open houses, and I'm one of them. I'll tell you, some stories about, my open houses that I've done in the past, 10 plus years ago. I had one agent, brand new agent, this was like during the pandemic. He did an open house, and it was on a $1.2 million home. And there was a couple from North Carolina came in, really liked the house, but they said to him, you know, we can't buy the first house that we look at. So he took them out, showed them about a half dozen more in that price point, and they said, no, I wanna buy that first house. So not only did he, you know, get a client from the open house, he actually sold the open house that he sat. So you know, you can have agents tell you open houses don't work, but they do. You just have to have the mindset that says open houses work. Hold open houses in your, if you have a farm area, do as many open houses in that farm area as possible. You wanna own that farm. And so when you do go out on those listing appointments, you know, that client, that seller is gonna say, yeah, I see your signs everywhere. Let's talk about doing open houses weekends versus weekdays. When are you guys mostly doing your open houses? Weekends.
But I have one that's right outside of school, and I'll be doing it during the week from like noon to 2,
Yeah.
noon to 4, whatever.
Yeah.
So I get that leaving, dropping kids off, leaving them, that type of thing.
So she has one near a school, and she's going to be doing during the week. You know, when the kids get out of school, there's a lot more traffic with the parents picking up those kids. So there's a lot more opportunity there. So yeah, great. There's a big soccer park over off of Lake Mead and Tenaya. Betty Wilson Soccer Park or something like that. I mean, I have like 20 soccer fields, and they hold these huge tournaments where people come in from, you know, all the neighborings. They come in from California, from Utah, from Arizona for these big tournaments. And I had a listing that was right there. And so and the tournaments went from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I had an open house all 4 days and got a lot of traffic through. So weekends are typically the best, but not always. Weekdays can work real well as well.
You know, Mark, you have to also realize that this state or this town is a 24-hour town.
Yeah,
So what we think is normally a Saturday or Sunday, good days off,
yeah.
a lot of the people down in culinary and everything else are off like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday type of thing on the slower days.
Yeah.
So I've always found during the open houses during the week is never a bad
Yep.
thing.
When I was, prior to moving to Utah in 2013, when I was doing open houses here, most all my open houses were on Sundays. That just worked best for me. And I moved to Utah, and all of a sudden, I can't do anything on Sundays. So I had to shift, and all my open houses, for the majority of them, were on Saturdays. So you gotta know where you're at.
Your market.
Yeah. Man, to dress professionally. You're on a job interview. You're on a job interview for potential listings. You're on a job interview for potential buyers. I had, years ago, I had a team, and I had taken a listing up in Summerlin. It was a cute little 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool. And the owner was a captain in the Marines. Yeah, very buttoned up kind of guy. And his wife and 2 kids, and so he wanted an open house done that weekend. I couldn't, so I had one of my team members do the open house. And he made 2 huge mistakes. A, he dressed unprofessionally. He was in a white t-shirt and jeans. Yeah, and the second thing, he was late. So my younger brother is retired military, and he always used to say, 10 minutes early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. That's just a military thing. So after the open house was over, I called him up, and I didn't know this had happened when I called. And I said, I'm just checking in to see how the open house went, he goes, Mark, I need to talk to you right now. So I literally had to drive up there and he read me the riot act because of the unprofessionalism of this agent. So be on time and dress professionally. All right, this is a biggie. Open house signs. Lots of them. Personalize open house signs if you can. Years ago when I was managing an office, well, my stories are starting with years ago. When I was managing an office, I had an agent, and he did really well at open houses, and this is probably 2004 or 5. He did really, really good, and so I had him come teach a class on what he's doing for open houses. And our biggest takeaway from that class is the amount of signs that he put out. When he first started doing open houses, he borrowed the office's signs and we loaned him 5 signs and then he did a deal or 2 and invested a little money into his business and bought, I don't know, 5 or 10 signs. And he started putting out 10 signs and realized that he's getting more people through, and he wondered to himself, I wonder if it has to do with the amount of signs I have out. So he bought more signs. And he started putting out 20 or 25 signs. And he said, and a NAR survey years later corroborated this, is the number of people that you have through your open house is in direct correlation to the number of signs that you put out.
That is so funny because I do put out like 8 signs and I get somewhere between 8 and 10.
Yeah. Just think.
Yeah.
It
Put out
takes
20
me,
signs.
it takes me about an hour to put all my signs out, and I
Yes.
typically lay 40 to 50 signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
somewhere in between like $750 to $1,000 into personalized branding for the
Yeah.
signs.
And here's the thing, doing open houses is a lot of work. It really is. When I first came to this office, I had an agent who came to me and said, Mark, I need some coaching. I said, all right. And he said, I'm just not doing the same amount of business I was before. I said, okay, what'd you do before? He goes, well, I was doing open houses. I said, well, great. Do more open houses. I'm a great coach. His comment to me was, but they're a lot of work. Yeah, they're a lot of work. Putting out, 40 plus signs is a lot of work. It can take an hour. When I was doing it, the open houses in Utah, we would put out anywhere between 25 and 50 signs. Now, when I say we, it was me and my sister. We did them together. We each had an SUV. She had a teenage son and a husband, and all 4 of us would be putting those signs out. But if you have to do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. But yes, open houses are a lot of work. Not only do you spend all the time putting all those signs out,
Gotta pick 'em up.
but then you have to pick them up. Yes.
What I found though is that people in the neighborhood that you're farming, I get people that honk at me and wave from when I'm putting the signs out, because those are my clientele that are coming to see me at the open house. They'll come see me, they'll come grab a cookie or a brownie or whatever just to say hi.
People are nicer in Utah though.
You're doing well. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I don't have any experience locally in Las Vegas with putting them out.
Yeah.
But you start to get repeat people in the neighborhood, and those are people that you can add to your database. They'll eventually sell at some point down the road, and it creates brand exposure that it's the type of brand exposure that you can't buy.
Mm-hmm.
They have to see you putting in the work. It's
Absolutely.
different. It's different than if you just have an ad on social media. This
Yeah.
is physical representation. They see you doing the work.
Yeah, I got a story about that coming up. All right, let's talk about selecting the property.
Mark, she has a question.
I want to add something on the sign because it's so windy here, so everything
Yeah.
falls,
Yeah.
even if you put the rock.
Mhm.
So I had some printed at Vista Print,
Mhm.
the very cheap ones, and then when I was doing it in Southern Highlands, I noticed that I could actually just put it on the bushes. and not
Okay,
to worry
sure.
about the ground because
Yeah.
it's so hard.
Mhm.
And it's easy to pick them up and it doesn't fall.
Yeah, and that's one thing in Utah, not necessarily in southern Utah, but where I was at, the ground was a lot softer, it rained a lot more, so I had those that you could poke into the ground, you just can't do it here. But you can put, you know,
Sandbags.
yeah, put sand, like get the little sandbags,
Put
I
some
did
bricks.
little
I
blocks.
put some bricks,
bricks,
front and back.
bricks,
That helps.
yeah. I hate wind, I really do, for a lot of reasons, and that's just one of them. But yeah, so, but lots of signs. We're gonna get more people through with lots of signs. All right, so picking a property. How do you get your open houses?
I like, make sure that I like to host vacant properties.
Vacant, okay?
I like to host, non-gated if I
Okay.
have an option.
Yep,
Otherwise, I will also try to look at how far deep it is, how
Right
many
point.
turns they have to make
great point.
before I choose the property. And I always, choose like certain amount, don't host like under 400,000 or something like that, but it just depends.
Go with a
There's
price point that you feel comfortable
Right.
with. That one agent that I was telling you about, brand new agent, he felt comfortable with $1 million clients. So, but go with the what you feel comfortable with. So yeah, houses that aren't really deep into community where you have to use 15 signs or 15 turns just to get there is not great either. Also, I used balloons on my open houses. And in Utah, it was like every Walmart had a balloon where you can go in and get helium-filled balloons from them. So I would always find the Walmart that was near the open house I was doing. I'd call them beforehand and say, hey, can you give me X amount of balloons? They're a pain. The balloons are a pain. Trying to get them in your vehicle without
yeah.
popping them, getting them out of your vehicle without popping them, tying them onto the signs. Have to cut them off the signs and pop them and pick up all the plastic or latex off the ground. It's a lot of work. So there's other ways that you can draw attention. You can get pinwheels. I would say go to Party City, but they closed down, so you can't do that anymore.
We also do
But
flag.
It cost $1.50.
Yeah.
The feather flags.
Yeah.
feather flags are good as well.
Cost me $1.50, Smith's.
$1.50 a Smith's, or you know what? There's this place, I don't know if you guys heard about it, called Amazon.
Place.
You have heard of it? They have it all, so, yeah, but something to draw attention. I think it was you, Dawn, that told me about the pinwheels, I don't know how many years ago.
Yep,
But yeah, I think you said pinwheels with a binder clip, I remember that
that's
conversation.
exactly right.
Mhm.
And the only problem is when I do it near a school, usually the kids take my pinwheels
Yeah.
by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
Just, have someone stand guard with a gun. No, I didn't say that. We're gonna talk about safety though.
On Amazon, they have a 15-foot feather flag open house, and I think that for like 4 of them is like $200 or so, and they're extremely tall. And I put one in front of the house, like directly in front of the house, and it's
Right.
bright red.
Right.
And then at the nearest like turn, I put the one there, and if there's another major turn, then I put it on the corner there. And so those 15-foot flags are a pretty good return on your money because it creates a lot of exposure for not that.
Yeah, I love that.
What do you do in the event of someone stealing your signs or your material?
Yeah. Nope.
Shoot.
Yep. It just says
Nothing you
open
can
house.
do.
It's that flag.
You buy
It's
more.
bright
Yeah.
neon red.
You don't have proof of who did it.
It's people who do that though.
Oh, I had someone.
I lost one last week.
Yeah, usually.
It happens. You what?
It's the,
Shade
it's
tree.
15
They had just
feet
came
up, so
sprayed
from the bottom, and then you
shade
put
tree.
something on it pointing
I
in
saw
the
the
direction
wash-
you
Wow.
want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so location, condition, your own listings when possible, really important.
Yep.
And everyone's a member of the private Facebook groups. If you guys want to do an open house, just put put something in there, hey, looking to do an open house. Or keep an eye in there, because there's agents all the time that are saying, hey, I need someone to do an open house. And Stephanie sends out flyers all the time. Agents ask her to send out flyers regarding needing agents to do open houses. So there's a lot of different ways to find your open house. All right, your open house kit. So I used to have a plastic tub where I put a lot of stuff in there, so I'm not scrambling to get stuff, before the open house. I already had it there. I'd make sure it was always filled. Of course, you can't put the open house size. This says a minimum of 6 to 12. I had over 50 open house signs when I was doing a lot of open houses in Utah. I would recommend having 20 and having them personalized. Have your name, your phone number, your picture if you want your picture. So also in this kit, I got a stack of business cards, area info, buyer handbooks. There's a lot of different ways that you can get buyer handbooks. One of them is through Rock Title. They have some really good ones. Any personal marketing materials, whether it's, if you have your own personal brochure, make sure that you put those out. Everything that you put out should have your information on it. If you have to staple your business card on it, but everything should have your information.
Something good for you to have on your sign-in sheets. Sometimes if you have something like you raffle something there too, like a barbecue set or something like that.
Yeah, doing a
For people
giveaway
to
is
sign in,
not a bad
that way they
idea.
give you the right information. They don't just make up information.
Yep.
Can I tell you something else about sign-in sheets?
Yeah.
Always, my mother lived in California, and she's been to every open house I've ever done. Nobody ever wants to sign the first one. So I signed her name every single time, and now she's not even with us anymore, and she's still going to open house.
She's real supportive,
She
isn't
is
she?
really supportive.
That's old school.
It is old school.
Sign-in sheets are old school.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about something
So
different.
yeah, our app,
Yeah.
open house app.
We're gonna talk about that. But let me grab something real quick. You could talk amongst yourselves.
Why no one tell me that the 15 construction is horrible? On the 215.
Terry,
The 215. 215.
construction is really bad, you should try one.
Oh my God.
All right.
From downtown, coming from downtown 15 south to the 215. Oh my God.
Here's something else for the open house kit. It's
I haven't seen one of those since like
They were, yeah, this is a little science fair thing, that's exactly what it is, trifold. So you just put whatever you want on there. You could have full homes, two-story homes, single-story homes, price points, whatever you want. You can we just made it real clear. You can customize it and make it as pretty as you want, but you just put some properties in there and have several so that they're going to go through them.
That's good.
I have one of those, and it really does attract the buyers and the visitors in the
Yep.
open houses, and I've gotten other listings because of my board.
Yeah. Here's the thing on that. Your goal is to keep them in that house as long as possible. The longer that you can keep them in that house, the more that you're able to, build rapport with them and ask them questions. And that way you're able to, possibly pick them up as a client. Again, you can customize this whatever way you want. Here's a caveat with that though. Don't use it on occupied homes. Why? Because the seller's gonna think, you're just trying to sell everybody else's house. You're not really working to sell my house. So only use it for vacant homes. You can put it on the counters, you can buy an A-frame stand to put it on, and you can have, you know, multiple. If you wanna have 2 or 3 of them, you can have 2 or 3 of them, okay? Table and chairs. Buy a card table and chairs, especially if you like to do vacant homes, right? Otherwise, you're gonna sit on the ground, on the stairs. I've done it. It's not that comfortable. So invest in some, alright. So let's talk about open house preparation and promotion, because you want to get people through the open house. What I did in Utah is I only did an open house every other week, because all the marketing and promotion that it took, you know, and I'm not saying this can't work, you know, finding an open house on Thursday, you know, to do the open house on Saturday. But really, if you want to do it right, you know, there's a lot of promotion that goes into it. So there's, so what you need to do is preview the listing, figure out how many signs and where, get sign permission. What do I mean by that?
HOAs.
No, not HOAs. Sometimes you have to put a sign on somebody's yard.
Yeah.
And so, one time, and I also door knock, and I'm gonna talk a little more about that prior to open house, but I was door knocking, and I figured I would get the sign permission at the same time. So I door knocked his house, I said, you know, I'm having an open house over here, 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna see you Saturday. I was hoping to be able to put a sign right here on the corner of your yard, with your permission, of course. And he was cool about it, he said, yeah, that's fine. And so, did the open house. About 5 minutes before the open house ended, he walked in, and I recognized him right away, because we had a little conversation. And he walked in, and he said, Mark, I've been watching you, and you're a hardworking agent. I said, thank you. He goes, I need to list my house, I need to sell my house, and I want you to do it for me. Just like that, just for, you know, knocking on the door and getting signed permission. So again, all this promotion that you're doing prior to the open house can and will generate business as well. The open house is the end result, but everything else will help you and can get you clients as well. Know the real estate sign laws, and not only laws, but you know, the HOAs have their own rules as well. Some HOAs don't allow any signage at all. I was doing, years ago, like when I first got in business, I was doing open house in Desert Shores. Put out all the signs and sat and waited. And I did not have one person through that open house. And you know, I called up my mentor at the time, and he said, well, where are you doing the open house? I said, well, Desert Shores. He goes, oh, signs aren't allowed in Desert Shores. Oh, thanks for telling me. He said, but you know what they do is they collect the signs and they put them in the dumpster area. Sure enough, I went there. They're not in the dumpster, but they're in the. So I didn't lose any signs. So yeah, know the some municipalities have their own rules and or actually their statutes, their laws, such as Henderson. Henderson has a statute on the books that says a maximum of 5 signs. What? Yeah. So when I tell you to put out 20 signs, don't do that in Henderson. Yeah, in Hendersonville. Yeah. And I forget what it was. It was like $110 per sign that you go above that 5. And years ago, there was actually an agent that posted in Facebook, and he said, I just got this ticket, and he picture of the ticket, for too many signs, and he had like 15 signs out. So he had like 10 extra, and it was like $110. Now, I don't know if he ended up paying, you know, that $1,100, or he was able to get it down, but yeah, just know in Henderson, don't put more than 5 signs out.
Is there a justified reason to the law of why you just can't have more of, or they just being buttholes?
Well, I don't know, I'm guessing it's because of, it just looks, too many signs, it doesn't look pretty. I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm not on that, city council.
But it's not like it's gonna be there forever, it's just there
A couple hours.
temporary. That's the one thing I
You're preaching
don't
to the
like
choir.
about these age-restricted, communities, I do not like to host open house there. 'Cause,
Yeah, some of them are okay.
you know, even if you talk to them and you tell them, you still.
You did open house at my Sun City listing last year.
I lost 3
Yeah,
signs, but I did close, I got a client that I closed,
it was well worth it.
so it was worth it.
Good, good. Preview of the other homes around that are available as well. It's a good idea because if somebody comes in, it's a 3-bedroom home that you're holding open and they say, love this house, love the neighborhood, but I really want a 4-bedroom. You say, oh, you know, I just, yesterday, as a matter of fact, saw a 4-bedroom around the corner. So know the inventory. Call your, Anthony just talked about it, that they have open house kits. So talk to him about it. All right, so let's talk about marketing. Getting people in your open house. Brian talked a little bit about doing, reels, and I think that's a great idea. I did, so here's what I would do. So when I would identify what open house I was doing, I would order postcards, 200 postcards. I would order 200 door hangers, and the door hangers were personalized to that house, to that day, that time, that way, because I know me, if I just had generic open house, I wouldn't necessarily knock all 200 doors. This is the way I'm geared, because I'm also cheap, and I wouldn't want those door hangers that I paid money for to go to waste. So I would make 200, and I would knock on 200 doors prior to every single open house. It's a lot. It's a lot.
How did you?
Did I mention open houses are a lot of work?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
How did you personalize the door?
Oh, it had a picture of the house, it had the address of the house, and it had the date and time that the open house was going to be.
The picture of the house for the open house, not their house.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, that's very
Yeah,
meticulous.
no. Now keep in mind,
Oh, okay, so it's the open house that you're
Yeah.
listing, I thought you.
That way it's not reusable, he couldn't use it down the road.
Yeah.
If he didn't do the 200 doors, then it was going in the garbage
go to waste,
essentially.
go to waste, yeah. Now keep in mind, my sister, who I was partners with in real estate, I got her into real estate in 2013. And did I mention that she's gonna be here next week?
Yes.
All right, so be here next week. She also owns a copy printing place. So she cut me a little bit on the price, not a whole lot. She's cheap. But
Runs in the family.
Thanks, Jerry. But her husband actually created them for me. He actually runs the shop. But yeah, 200, and I knocked on. I would start on Thursday, and I would get as many as I possibly could on Thursday, and then I would go on a Friday. I was hoping that I would get them all done on Thursday and Friday, but sometimes I didn't, so it would run into Saturday morning. I'm out there door knocking. I'll tell you, I got a lot more doors opened on Saturdays than I did on Thursdays and Fridays. There's a good thing and a bad thing about that. So the good thing is you're getting more conversations, right? The bad thing is you're getting more conversations, so it takes a lot longer to knock on those doors. A lot of the houses there are on big lots, quarter-acre, half-acre lots. So it took a long time, a lot of walking involved. Now, I did get some listings in some townhouse communities, so that was a snap to do those, door knock on those. But yeah, and here, we deal with smaller lots, so it's not as difficult. But here's what I'd say when I door knock. Now, I'm a big proponent of scripts. Many of you are not. Many agents say, well, I don't want to use scripts. I don't want to sound canned. But you gotta know what to say. Whether they're scripts that you learned out of a book, or whether they're scripts that you've created on your own, or maybe it's a combination of both. But this is what I'd say, and I don't know where I learned this, and every time I say it, it's different. But I say, hey, my name is Mark. I'm with Realty One Group. I'm gonna be having an open house over here at 123 Elm Street. It's gonna be Saturday morning, between the hours of 9 and 12 or whatever. Saturday afternoon between 1 and 4. And I'm just out talking with the neighbors, because oftentimes neighbors know somebody that wants to move into the neighborhood. So who's the next person that you can think of that you would like to be your neighbor? And then you just wait and wait for them to answer, because they're gonna think. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say, yeah, I really can't think of anyone. And that's okay. You say, well, thank you for thinking about it. I appreciate it. Now, here's the thing. You're there for 2 reasons. You're doing that door knocking for 2 reasons. A, you want to invite them to the open house. B, you want to see if you can pick them up as a potential seller, right? So you wait for them to answer that question about if they know of anybody, and you thank them for thinking about it, and it's almost as an afterthought asking the next question. It's kind of like, all right, who knows who Columbo is? Yeah. Only 3 of you?
I just showed my age.
Yeah. So Columbo was it was a show back in the 70s, and Columbo was a disheveled detective. And when he would be, interviewing his main suspect, he would just be throwing some, lobbing some softball questions. And then he would thank them so much, and he would, thank you very much, and he's like, turn away, and he goes, oh, by the way. And that's when he hit him with the hard question. Because people, well, most people, there's some psychos that can, lie, but most people, have a hard time lying really on quick like that. So by the way, when do you plan on selling? It's almost as an afterthought. Oh yeah, by the way, when do you plan on selling? Again, stop, listen to the answer, because people have a hard time spontaneously lying. And they may look up and they may stutter a little bit, and you can just come back and say, it kind of sounds like you thought about selling. If you were to sell, where would you go? And just get them into conversations and start asking them questions. So tell me, what do you like about the community? What don't you like? Where did you want to move? Minnesota. Why Minnesota? Be closer to the grandkids or whatever, You just want to get them into conversation by asking them questions. So that's one of the main things that I did to, promote the open house. I'd also send out the postcards. Oh, here's the thing. When you're door knocking, you can door knock the actual neighborhood of the open house you're doing. I've also, I would, at one point there was like a $600,000 listing I had, and all the houses were in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. But across the street, there's a community that had like $300,000 homes in it. So I door knocked that neighborhood, tried to get some move-up buyers for the bigger neighborhood. My script was slightly different, but it's, so that script, did it sound like a script?
A little bit.
Fuck you.
We got that one.
Does that being recorded?
Oh, yeah.
It's, I'm teasing. But yeah, you just gotta know what to say. All right. Invite your circle, your sphere. Always reach out. Do you remember? Oh, well, I may not remember, but on your database, you need to touch them, 40 times a year, and that could be, many touches right there. What's that? What time is it? Order postcards or invites for circle prospecting, door hanger invitations, post to everything. Post everywhere you can possibly think of. Post to advance notice sign. Oh, advance notice sign writers is a good one. So some of the A-frame open house signs have a place that you can put there's a slot that you can put a sign writer in. And I would have sign writers that say open Saturday 2 to 4, whatever. And I would put that out in front of the house for a full week before the open house. So people driving by can say, oh, they're having an open house Saturday. Or you could put it right on the for sale sign if you like. Prepare information. All right. This is really important to me, is consider a partner for safety. I hear so many times of agents, getting beat up, getting molested, getting mugged, or, just have a partner for safety. It could be, the best partner for open houses?
Smith and Weston.
Yeah.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that. But Darshawn's like, who? Who's Smith and who's Weston?
I'm from India, I don't know all this stuff, okay?
Yes.
If you
Oh.
permit to carry, would you recommend carry?
Like I said, I'm not against it.
I'm against that.
Yeah.
Nope, I'll do
No, if you have a permit, carry. But other than that, lenders. Lenders are a great partner to sit in open house because they can benefit from the open house as well. Make sure that you have internet. She's got pepper spray. Make sure you have internet at the house. Whether you have to, ask, whenever I would have, if it was my own listing, I'd always ask them for access to their internet and never ever had a problem. Might want to,
Or you can use a hotspot.
Exactly, I was just gonna say that, because I do vacant homes, so
Yep.
they don't have it, but I have Cox
Yep.
for home, so I use that hotspot.
Bring a hotspot, absolutely. Yeah. So what else? Safety. I can't say this enough. I worry about you guys all the time. I really do. I don't want you guys to be in the newspaper. I wouldn't mind seeing you in the newspaper for other reasons, but not for that one.
But I've been wanting to get molested.
Richard, I'm trying to be serious for a change.
It's a cheap threat.
It's cheap. This is gonna be one of the best recordings.
This is gonna be an HR nightmare for you. There might be an email that comes back with this.
All right, day of the open house, arrive early, memorize how the house currently is. If all the lights are on, leave them all on when you leave. If all the lights are off, turn them all on, but make sure you turn them all off before you leave. You want to stage the house like Brian was talking. Sometimes sellers are not very considerate. I've had times where there's been piles of dirty dishes in the sink, and I pull them all out and stuff them in the dishwasher, and then at the end I pull them all out and put them back in the sink. There's been times where I've had, you always want to leave the house in the same condition as you got it. However, there's a few times where maybe you wouldn't. I've had to pick up dog poop,
Ooh.
but I didn't put it back.
I will.
You would have put it in the living section. But yeah, you just want to, you want to stage the house. You want to make sure all the lights are on, all the blinds are open, so that it looks presentable. Throw pillows, magazines.
On the bottom of that, you say bring note cards.
Bring note cards and other real
They
estate.
even make those
Yep,
anymore?
some people actually send cards to their clients.
Oh, those kind of note cards. I was thinking 3.5 by,
No.
5 by 3.
All right, so the actual open house, we've done all the promotion to get people through and acknowledge it. So if this is a house that has not been held open, some houses are held open every week for, but if it's like the first or second time it's being held open, the first question I'd always ask was somebody that walked in, I said, which home in the neighborhood do you live in? And about 70 or 80% of the time, they did live in the neighborhood. You want to ask questions. That is your goal, is to ask questions. There's a great book called Secrets of Question-Based Selling. I'm not sure who the author is, but it's, you've got to ask questions. But here's the thing when asking questions. I'm a big believer in scripts. But also, you need to, some people, when they know their scripts, they just go from one, this is the next question, this is the next question. You've really, really got to listen. You ask a question, you need to listen to the answer. That's going to tell you what the next question needs to be. So that is the best way to build rapport, is by asking questions. All right. Ask them to sign in. Spacio. Who uses Spacio? Don? Is the only? Who here doesn't know what Spacio is? Okay, I'm going to show you. Let me blaze through this. Spacio. Let's
What's
talk.
the name of that book, Mark?
The Secrets of Question-Based Selling. All right, in your one login, everyone knows where this is, right? Right here, Spacio. It's already in there. We provide it to you.
Is it totally free?
It's totally free.
I'm searching right now.
It's in there. So, all right, so Spacio, it's an app.
Free, you said totally free.
It's totally free.
Is that to work on a tablet?
Tablet or a laptop. So you put it in your tablet or laptop. When you do your open house, you set up your open house in there. And when people come to your open house, as opposed to signing in on a piece of paper, they type in their name, email address, phone number. It automatically goes into the database here. So when I was doing open houses in Utah, I had gotten something very similar to this, and I started beta testing back and forth. I do one, with a signed-in piece of paper, I do one, and I got a lot more people that signed in this way, digitally. And here's the other thing. When they sign in on a piece of paper, oftentimes we can't read what they say. I used to only think that they do this so that we can't read what they're writing, so we can't contact them. But also the reason why is when they're signing in, they don't want other people to see their information. So this way, all their information is private. It goes into the database here, and here's the cool thing about it. It automatically sends them an email at the end of the open house. Here's what the email says. It sucks not being able to see. All right, so it says, thank you for taking time to attend the open house at 123 Elm Street today. If you have any remaining questions regarding this property or any other property, please feel free to contact me at your phone number, your email address. Below you will find information on the property. it puts in a picture of the property, it puts in the information of the property. Because those people are driving around looking at a lot of different, open houses. And then if this particular property didn't meet all your criteria you're looking for, basically we have others. So, I strongly recommend using Spacio.
Mark,
Yes.
now, I've had a few open houses in the past 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, there are people who are not comfortable putting their names on the space.
Yeah, there's not people who are
Okay,
comfortable.
would you give them like a choice, like, would you do on Espacio or a piece of book that you have?
I would try it.
Because some of them, they don't wanna give you email, some of them, they don't wanna give you phone number,
And here's the thing,
so,
marketing is all about trying.
yeah.
You try this.
I think it will be best to ask instead of letting you
Yeah,
know.
which one they would be
If-
comfortable with?
If that's what you feel comfortable doing,
Yeah.
for me, I would just, it just like if they didn't wanna sign it on a piece of paper, I'm not gonna force them. If they don't wanna put in their information, I'm not gonna force them.
Yeah, I
Part
agree
of the
with you.
open house is building good enough rapport
Yeah.
to where they want to give you the information, or there's some reason why you actually need to contact them.
Yeah.
A lot of times when they leave an open house, it's like, hey, do you have a property similar to this? Yeah, let me get your phone number, I'll send you the MLS information right now with the listing link of a property I think that you would like. And that,
Here's another thing is, remember last week, we had the lifestyle magazine people? I used to do this, I used to be a subscriber to that, and I would put just one magazine out. And if they picked it up and started looking at it and going, I said, that's my last one, but you know what, if I get your information, I could put you on a list and you can get this magazine, every quarter. And that way, it's just another way of getting their contact info. All right. With any type of lead generation, any type of prospecting that you do, your goal, your number one goal is to set appointments, right? Your number two goal is to get their contact information, get them as a lead, but the number one goal is to set appointments. So you should have in your mind, I want to set X amount of appointments at this open house today. So that is your goal. When people come through your open house, you need to ask them the question, find out whether they're renters or whether they're already homeowners. And then, it tells you what questions that you need to ask. If they're homeowners, so are you looking to downsize or upsize, or are you looking for investment property? Those are questions for somebody that's a homeowner. If it's a renter, you need to find out. So are you in a lease? When does your lease expire? Ask them, is there a way for you to get out of your lease early? So those are some questions that you would ask a renter. Always return the home to the way you found it. Write a thank you note. If it's occupied, just write a little thank you note. If it's somebody else's listing, give them a call, thank them, and then collect all your signs, and then send the notes out. They're gonna get the email right away, which is important, but then you can also send a handwritten note card out to them that they'll receive the following week. And here's the key. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. The fortune is in the follow up. You need to follow up on all the leads that you get. The fortune's in the follow up.
I wonder, is there a service they'll put up all the signs and pick them up too?
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Yeah, yeah.
You just give them the sign, they store just your signs and everything, and then you just tell them, hey, I want the signs.
Or they'll put up generic signs.
How much should I do? They'll put up theirs.
Yeah. But if it's generic signs, you're not getting the
Correct, no,
benefit
you wanna have
of
your own
those
signs, but
signs.
sometimes they'll store the signs for you, and then they'll put them up for you and pick them up afterwards.
Yeah.
Does it know any company or any person?
There is a company, because I always see them
Yeah.
around my neighborhood, and the name and phone number is on the very bottom.
Yeah.
Starts with like an M or something like that, but there is a company
There's a
that will,
company that does that.
You
yeah,
know, ask the question in the Facebook groups.
ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
Does anyone know where the cheapest company that we can get those personalized sign?
Yeah, probably 702 Signs or the 702, the sign guy, or I think
OP
it's
Signs, I
yeah,
think
something.
I ordered from signonthecheap.com website. I got 10 signs for, first time order was like 250.
sign on the what?
Signonthecheap.com.
Sign on the cheap.
So that's perfect.
On the cheap,
Sign on the cheap.
Yeah,
All right.
I created my own.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
All right, thank you all so much, and remember, no matter how you slice it, greatness is a choice. Let's go out and be great open house agents.
We went there and they made flyers actually.